right, Phil, it's another top five. Once again, I'm about to say something. You've never heard it before. Let's see what you can make out of it. Today's top five is top five low stakes hacks.
Okay. Um, top five low stakes hacks. So I'm not going to refer to them as hacks, but I'll just call them tips for adjusting to low stakes poker, which is essentially, playing with weaker opposition. So generally, the lower the stakes you go, the easier the competition is, the more mistakes they make, and typically they make them in similar kinds of ways. So number one, play tight pre-flop. It's super boring way to adjust, but it's an important one. People generally at lower stakes are too loose, and a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, oh, well, they're playing such bad hands. That means I can play a bunch of bad hands too, because on average, I'm going up against weaker hands. And while it's technically true in some spots, it's slippery slope. And especially when you're in multi-way pots, bad hands do not do well. The way that you're going to beat them playing bad hands is to actually have good hands when you enter the pot. A lot of people never think of this, and it's actually kind of obvious when you think about it. So apologies for some of you who this is obvious for. But let's say we were playing poker, 9 people around a table. And, normally, let's say that it's $1, $2 blinds, and we'll have $300 in our stack or something. Let's say instead of that, we just take out the blinds. So there are no blinds. We all have $300 in front of us, and the betting just starts on one person. And their option is they can put in, $2 or they can raise to more, or they can fold. What hands should you play? And the answer is actually you should only play aces, because if you only play aces and you go all in, once anybody's raised, you go all in with aces, you can never lose because you're never forced to put in money unless you're going all in with the best hand. So really the reason we play hands is all about the blinds. And when people are playing a bunch of hands, it costs you so little in comparison to the size of the pots to just wait for better hands and enter the pot with better hands. So that's hack tip. Number one is play tight, play good hands. Number two is fast play your good hands. So a lot of people love to, raise, call. We have pocket sevens on the button. We call 5-way to the flop of queen 7-4 with 2 spades. Bet, call. A lot of people like to just call and disguise the strength of their hand and hope that somebody keeps betting into them, because it feels really good to be tricky and to just call and have them bluff off their stack to you, or have them bet turn with kings and then jam river with kings, and you say, haha, I have a set, gotcha. I hope you don't literally say that, but in your head you do. The thing is, at lower stakes, people are generally too passive. They're not bluffing enough. They're not putting in enough money with thin enough value hands, but they are also too loose. They're chasing draws too often. They're really stubborn. They don't want to fold top pair. So raise that flop, get them to put in more money right then with queen jack before the turn brings a straight or a flush and scares them off the hand. Or even if it doesn't scare them off the hand, then you've made the pot bigger, and now you can bet again on the turn. You can bet again on the river and get their whole stack. So just make sure you fast play your good hands, unless you have a really good reason not to. Number 3, figure out when people have to have a made hand. And so what I mean by that is you raise in early position, the button calls, the big blind calls. The flop is king 7-3 rainbow. Check. You bet half pot. The button calls and the big blind folds. Most players, when they call there on king 7-3 rainbow, unless they specifically have 6-5 suited that they played pre-flop, or 6-4 suited or whatever, they have a pair. So find spots where you're pretty sure your opponent has a pair. And then if later in the hand they bet or raise, just fold everything that doesn't beat very good hands, because players at low stakes are essentially never turning pairs that could win at showdown into a bluff. And so continuing with the king 7-3 example, let's say king 7-3, you bet, they call, turn is a 6, bringing a flush draw, you check, they bet, you call with whatever, king 10. And then the river is an 8, bringing a flush, you check, they bet. They're just not bluffing. They just can't be bluffing anymore, and they're representing a better hand than you. Obviously, some players can be bluffing, and good players know in position, they're going to play some hands like like 6-5 that way. So they're kind of bluff. They call the flop and then they're bluffing, or like 7-5 suited. They're bluffing the turn, and then everything gets there on the river. And so they just have to bluff with that hand because it's really low in their range. But a lot of low stakes players don't think like that. And they just think that you bluff with no pair. And so when they have a pair, they just don't bluff. So look for spots where your opponents almost always have a pair and fold everything. Similarly, number 4, look for spots where a lot of draws miss, and then call rivers. Generally, I would say people at low stakes under bluff, but they also call a little bit too loose and chase draws too loose on the flop. So to give you an example, let's say you raise in middle position, the big blind defends, the flop is queen 10-7 with 2 clubs. They check, you bet, they call. Turn is an offsuit 3, check, check. River is an offsuit 4, they bet big. Well, yes, they can have some slow played sets. They can have some slow played 2-pair. They can have some top pair going for value, but there are so many bluffs for them to choose from, like ace jack, king jack, jack 9, 9-8, 9-6 suited, 8-6 suited, king 9. I've probably forgotten some already. But then flush draws also. Like they have all of those hands that missed. And people at low stakes know that when you have no pair and you're probably not going to win unless you bet, they find those bluffs. So look for those spots to bluff catch. Lastly, I'd say adjust really, how do I want to put this? Make big adjustments to how many players see the flop. So what I mean by that is if a lot of players see the flop, basically like 5+ players, just don't bluff post flop, because what happens is you're up against 4 other hands and 1 or 2 of them probably have something. And what's supposed to happen in theory is that because there are 5 people in the pot, the thresholds for what you need to call down, what you need to bet, what you need to raise go way up. But people don't really adjust in their minds like that. They just see top pair, or they see an open ender, or they see a flush draw, and they play the way they would play if there were 5 people in the pot or 2 people in the pot. So when there are 5 people in the pot, hands are better. Just don't bluff them, like ever. When it's heads up to the flop, now you're only up against 1 hand. They usually don't have much. Now you should bluff a lot, play aggressively, because they're also, in their mind, everybody has this, barometer of what a hand is worth. Their barometer is set. It's set for like the average of hands that they see go down. And the average hand has maybe 3 or 4 players in a low stakes game seeing a flop. And so they're used to like folding the flop when they don't have much, even against a small bet. But now in a heads up pot, you need to be defending some pretty weak hands against small bets because both players don't have much pretty often. But they don't do that. So this is the spot where you get very aggressive, and find opportunities to bluff whenever you can. So yeah, that list actually came out better than I thought it was going to. So hopefully you found that helpful, and you take those hacks to the casino next time you play low stakes and you make a lot of money. Good luck out there. Take care.